Hurts isn't even the best modern NFL quarterback on this wall.
Oh, we're going to have trouble down the road, boys. Hey everyone, Adam Malamut here from Malamut & Associates. We are very proud to bring you to our new studio today. This has been a work in process, a work in progress, something that we've literally put together over, my goodness, probably 25 years of sports memorabilia collecting, and I would say 20 years of ideas of content and things that we like to talk about. I'm honored to be here today with three of my partners, three people who share the love of sports and sports trash talking. We've got Keith Gentis, Mark Natale, and Scott Sheldon. Guys, welcome back.
Adam, thanks for having us. It's quite easy to get distracted in this new studio with all these great jerseys, and you just play through your memory different images and things of all the different players.
So, Mark, last time we were here, we were talking law. Today, we're going to be talking sports. Last time, Scott, you were here, we were talking sports. Now we're going to still talk sports.
Keep it simple.
But we're going to keep it simple.
All right.
And Scott's got his legal pad going. Listen, Scott's off of a big victory here, and great jury verdict, a case that he pounded the pulp out of these folks at New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They shouldn't have doubted this guy's skills. They wrote a really big 6-digit check as a result of Scott's work. But I can guarantee you that there's no content going on here today you're going to need to take notes on. This is an educational opportunity as we look around the studio, and we'll get some pictures up that we'll be able to put into the show. We are filled with, my goodness, I haven't even counted. We probably have 20, 25 pieces of sports memorabilia here. I'm going to go around the room and just talk about them real quick, and then we'll have a little bit of discussion, because I think there's a younger set here who may believe they actually know something about sports, and then the people who actually do know something about sports. And we're going to rank some folks here. We've got a Mike Schmidt signed jersey. These are all signed items. Mike Schmidt, Deion Sanders, both college and with the Falcons. Seth Joyner. Seth is off limits for anybody here today because he's a personal friend. So we're not going to get into ranking Seth unless we're putting Seth number one, certainly number one in our hearts. We got Brendan Graham, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts behind me, LeBron James behind me, B-Doc, the Wolverine behind me. Behind Keith, we've got Pele. We've got Floyd Mayweather, the money team. We've got Jokic, two-time NBA MVP, Finals MVP. That Sanders jersey I just talked about a minute ago from the Falcons. Michael Vick, our chief marketing officer's favorite jersey in the room. I'm saying that facetiously. She hates me for putting that up. We have Alex Morgan's soccer jersey. Let's go. U.S. Women's National Team, World Cup. Brian Urlacher, great linebacker, Hall of Famer 2018, Chicago Bears, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Got to blend some more soccer in here. We've got John Bones Jones glove. We've got, this is a cool piece. We've got an Olympic Village pass from 2012 Olympics in London, signed by Usain Bolt, and a guy who I know pretty well, who I trained with way back in the day, Hoist Gracie, and UFC glove. Gracie family is really what started the UFC, and having an opportunity all the way back before I was in law school to work out at a place called Maxercise in Philadelphia, which was their first East Coast school. So, guys, taking a look around the room, we debated earlier on what we have in terms of rankings, and Mark took the initiative, and it was bold. It was a risky move putting out there his rankings. But Mark, give us your top five. Who are your top five that you have in terms of, I guess we'll go by pure athletes? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Because they're all different sports.
Exactly. And that's what makes it fun and also what makes it difficult. So I'm just trying to rank
top 5 by athletes, not necessarily by piece, because, you know, the fact that LeBron's is a game-worn rookie jersey helps it outweigh some other pieces, but we're not going to consider stuff like that. Just athletes, how good they were at their sport, their impact on the game. And I can run through my list. So number 1, and I think this is indisputable, is Usain Bolt, who I think is arguably the greatest athlete in any sport of all time.
All right, hold on. We got to stop. We got to stop right there. Anybody object to Usain Bolt as number 1?
He's on a tier unto himself. I mean, you think about it. We started playing sports as kids. What was one of the most sought after designations? Fastest kid on the playground, right? This guy is literally the fastest man in the history of the world.
So for those listening, just to give context, Keith was a track and field guy in college, played at a high level, hammer thrower.
Not a lot of running.
Not a sprinter. But Keith never beat Usain Bolt at anything. But
Maybe buffet.
But Keith does have perspective on the sport of track and field. What do you think, Scott?
I object.
All right.
And
we're not in court, but
right.
That's okay.
I'll reserve.
Bring it a little closer to the mic, though, so folks can hear you.
So Usain Bolt, as with many other athletes on the wall today, they all have something in common that some of the athletes that are on the wall do not have. Okay. And that's he's a loser. He retired a loser at the 2017 World Championships. He got beat. He lost in his first appearance in the Athens 2004. Am I right?
But Scott,
junior,
hold on for a second. Okay. I object now because you're calling this guy a loser. Every single person on this wall, except for one, has lost. Every single person on this wall has lost, except for Floyd Mayweather.
That's my number 1.
All right. So Scott's got Mayweather as number 1. Usain Bolt, I got to be honest. I think that Usain Bolt's number 1. And my reason for going against Scott, and it's a tough call, my reason for going against Scott is I don't think that Mayweather always fought the best out there. Bolt always raced against the best out there. And so for me, my deciding factor on that would be the fact that Usain always went against the best. Mayweather got in against, whatever was going to sell tickets. And, back in the day, our good friend Roy Jones Jr., he fought in a bunch of different weight classes. He didn't care. If there was a fight, he wanted to bring it. Mayweather is a little bit more of a diva. Mayweather, what's the catch weight going to be? And, those guys who transcended different weight classes, those fighters, the guys who were the real warriors, they didn't care. They just wanted to get in and fight. So respectfully, I softly disagree with Scott on the number 1 versus number 2, but not in its entirety, because Mayweather, look, you go undefeated for an entire career, you deserve consideration for number 1.
Let's talk prolific career. Age 19 to age 40, 50 fights, undefeated. He's got belts at 6 different weight classes, I believe. Feather lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and midweight, right? It's prolific. And let's talk about how the man's retiring and he has all his marbles still in his head.
Well,
you know why?
Let's not get ahead of our skis on that. We're not going to anoint this guy Mensa yet.
Well, look, the guy can still think and speak clearly. And that's because he's one of the greatest defensive boxers of all time. We could talk about running as fast as you can in a straight line. I don't know. I'm talking back to the caveman days, fighting over food. Mano y mano, one-on-one. That's the true athlete. The man that goes out victorious in battle. And he's done it 50 times over a 20-year career.
All right. So let's agree. Can we all agree that in some Mark, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree disrespectfully because I think that it's an absurd position. I think that if you buy Floyd Mayweather's undefeated record, then you could potentially be a victim of Ponzi schemes, snake oil salesmen, and Nigerian princes leaving you money, because it is the most fraudulent record in sports. He is an unbelievable businessman, an unbelievable promoter, and an unbelievable boxer. I don't think you could find a boxing historian or boxing fan that puts him in the top 5 greatest boxers of all time, because of exactly what Adam said. He didn't just pick and choose who he fought. He manipulated the market in a genius way to fight people that he could get the biggest paydays and preserve his undefeated record, because that's what he was marketing. He dodged the greatest boxers in their primes purposely. He fought people out of weight purposely, and he did it all to preserve this image. And once you look past the surface, you realize Floyd Mayweather might not even be a top 10 boxer of all time, let alone
Crazy.
So let's change the narrative here. Keith, what do you think about this? Tell me if you think this is fair, Keith. How about if we say Floyd Mayweather was the #1 businessman as a boxer of all time?
I don't even know if I agree with that, because using Mark's logic in terms of selective opponents and, crafting your career, the one person that always gets brought up is a 5'10" guy from Brockton, Massachusetts.
Ah, there you go.
And I know, not personally, but just from listening from stories from my grandfather and some great uncles back in the day, they would talk about how they actually went and saw some of his fights. And there was just no doubt at the beginning that there was ever going to be anything other than a Marciano victory. So I think the subjective element in boxing would weigh against Mr. Mayweather. And I'm going to be in alignment with Mark. You're not moving me off of Bolt #1 here.
Hey, can I add one more thing? Floyd Mayweather, contrary to popular belief, never an undisputed champion. He never held all the belts at one weight class at one time. So that knocks him off of even being considered the greatest boxer of all time. He never was undisputed the greatest at his sport of all time. And the reason why he never did that was because he was always shifting his weight classes, fighting people out of his weight class and out of their weight class to create the biggest event, but also where he had the greatest advantage. I appreciate what he did. It's smart, but it's why you can't. What Usain Bolt did in the 2008 and then Olympics, and then going up into including the 2012 Olympics, is the greatest athletic achievement of all time. And it's not even close. And I agree with you. Bolt raced the best in the world every time. And Mayweather is great businessman, great showman, great boxer, but doesn't belong at the top.
And to your point, Bolt's not just racing against the competitors on the starting line. He's racing against history. It's black and white. He's racing against a clock. He could be the only person in the race, and if he still ran a certain time, it should be just as celebrated.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. Let's move. I think we got the message on where everybody stands on Bolt versus Mayweather. I don't think there's any convincing of Scott on this, because
I'll give John Jones a #2 or a #1.
John Jones might not even be the best athlete in his family. He's got 2 brothers that were in the NFL, and he had a sister that's come to cancer very early. She was a terrific basketball player.
We're talking about athletes on the wall in this studio.
You can't be the greatest on the wall if you're not the greatest at home.
Well, look, John Jones is presently the UFC heavyweight champion.
Agreed.
He is undefeated, and I would argue that any sport, nothing is harder and nothing requires more well-rounded athletic skill than MMA.
has he passed his most recent drug test?
I don't know.
All right. So let's move on. So #2, who's our #2? If we take those two and we call them 1 and 1A or whatever, where does the list go after that, Mark?
It doesn't mess me up at all because I don't even have Mayweather in my top 5. So that's easy.
All right. Who do you have?
Number
What's the rest
2
of
on my
your top
list,
5?
I have LeBron. And
Okay.
just to round out the list, because I think that this is the group of people we're going to be debating about. I have 2 LeBron, 3 Dion, 4 Pele, 5 Ronaldo. And this is kind of how my logic behind it. LeBron, Dion, Pele, Ronaldo, you can make a colorable argument, to use a legal phrase, that they are the greatest at their sport. And I don't think once you drop down to that, because I don't think there's an argument that Mayweather is the greatest boxer of all time. Once you drop down to that, the next tier of athletes, you can't make that argument. But you could do that with these guys. And I think you maybe could shuffle those around, but I think those guys have to come next after Bolt.
I certainly appreciate that list, but the metric in my head that I'm using is just a little bit different in terms of if we were going to put all these athletes on the field and did some type of combine, who would have the best numbers? That's sort of the rationale we use to establish Bolt as number one. I don't think there's any question that James is in contention of, you know, the greatest of all time conversation. Him, Jordan, Kobe, however you want to finish it.
Hold on. I take extreme offense to anybody that suggests that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan at anything. It could be Monopoly. It could be the game of life. It could be eating a cereal bowl. It could be tying your shoes. LeBron James is amazing. And I can't see any conversation where he remotely challenges Michael. I think it's Michael and then everybody else.
There are those conversations being had.
You said better than anything.
Just not valid ones.
Is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan at scoring total points in the NBA?
Are we talking about a career that they both play equal games? What are you using?
Longevity matters, and how long
it does,
and how long you're able to be effective matters, and how well you play when you're 38 versus how someone else plays when they're 38 matters. And
so you have one player that you get to start your team with. Is it LeBron or Jordan?
No, I think that Jordan's the greatest NBA player of all time, but I think that Jordan fans who want to cling to the past, maybe, and I'm not saying that that's anyone in this room, but Jordan fans deny how close it is and the clear arguments that LeBron fans have that
LeBron revolutionized the game.
So
LeBron is a big guy who plays much more agile than his size, and there's no denying his ability to score almost at will. There's no denying his ability to play on both sides of the court. He's a great defender. He's a great offensive player. He can distribute the ball, oftentimes distribute the ball better than his teammates can receive the ball. He can rebound. He can do it all. I don't have any problem acknowledging, and I don't like LeBron. You know that I dislike LeBron intensely.
Big baby.
Yeah. And you want to talk about divas? That guy's a diva. That guy is a diva.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He was announced last night at the ESPYs as the player to do more for basketball than anyone. Do you know who introduced him? His wife.
Right.
And again, that would be wrong because nobody grew the game globally like Jordan did. So right. I just think it's a lot closer.
And there's this guy named West who might have some role in it.
Absolutely. So
if they ever changed the NBA logo from Jerry West to somebody else, who would it be?
Jordan. Jordan's my number one. LeBron's my number two. I just think it is a lot closer.
The problem is the NBA can't afford to buy that from Nike.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
The Jumpman's not going anywhere.
But I think using Keith's metric of if you put everyone on the same field, same court, same arena, and just who's the best pure athlete, then I think absolutely it's going to be Bolt, LeBron, Dion.
You got to include Vic.
Maybe.
As much as we don't want to for whatever.
Just pure athletic ability.
How about Hurts?
To Mark's point, the longevity. I mean, you've got one season. If he, continues to perform as he has,
that guy has overcome more obstacles, and everywhere he's gone, he's been athletic. He
overcome
won
obstacles because players on his team were better than him.
No, not.
And he packed up and went to Oklahoma.
I don't know. Well, so the player on his team that was better than him, how's he doing these days?
Oh, I mean, he played great until he was.
I mean, if he can stop getting concussions.
Yeah, I'm a Hurts, as big a Hurts fan as anyone else.
We're talking pure athletes, guys. That guy in the weight room is a beast. That guy on the field is a beast.
Hurts isn't even the best modern NFL quarterback on this wall.
Oh, we're gonna have trouble down the road, boys. I think this is gonna be a rocky show.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, you saw how low I have Josh Allen on my list, and I like him just fine, but he just isn't in the same category.
Every argument you can make for Hurts is something that Allen's done over a longer period of time.
Except win a conference title.
That's okay.
Something. It's something. Look, I
You
think
gotta get to the Super Bowl before you win it.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you don't win it.
I think I had Hurts and Allen at the bottom of the list. So I think I'm pretty clear with where I put both of them.
Do you think Mike Schmidt's a better athlete than Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, Mike Schmidt's the greatest third baseman to ever play.
But that's not an athlete. That's a third baseman.
So that's where we're getting into
My metric is steel cage match. Who's coming out?
Why is that your metric?
Because
that doesn't even make any sense.
Listen, Bob Backlund over here. This isn't the WWE. We're talking about baseball, football, basketball, men's and women's soccer, UFC, track and field. I mean, we're talking about. We're not talking steel cage matches because I'll tell you what.
Jokic got to be able to destroy people in a steel cage.
You want to go steel cage match? There's not a person in here I'm taking over Seth Joyner.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
put John Jones and Seth Joyner. John Jones is coming out all day long.
So as much as I like Keith's analysis of best pure athlete, I don't think that's how you can rank these because otherwise, why even have MLB players? It's such a specialized skill set. I think it has to be how well did you do at your chosen sport. And Mike Schmidt's the greatest third baseman of all time, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. So
that's a better metric.
Yeah,
that's a better way to measure it. So if we're going by the players who made the biggest impact during their era in their sport, I think that's the way that we evaluate it, right? Because you can't measure Michael Vick and Josh Allen or Michael Vick and Jalen Hurts, even though they're not that far apart. It's still a different league. There's years that the quarterback throws more. There's years that they run more. And while Vick and Hurts are probably more of a similar type of player, Allen's a little bit different because Allen is probably better with the ball in the air than both of them. But you can't compare different eras. You can't compare, a Urlacher or even a Joyner to, some of the modern day linebackers.
Well,
I
have
schemes
to respectfully disagree because, in all honesty, Vic serves as the archetype for the players that Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are today. And taking it back even one step further, your own Randall Cunningham. So arguably, without that type of player, Allen, Hurts, Lamar Jackson, those type of players, let's see what they can do at the combine in the 40, and maybe we can switch them over to wide receiver, tight end.
But let's use two modern players. Why we can't only look at athleticism. Josh Allen is world's better athlete than Jokic. I mean, from strength, speed, coordination.
So is Alex Morgan.
But Jokic is a way, way better NBA player than Josh Allen is an NFL player.
Right.
So,
but you get into pure athletes. Alex Morgan is a pure athlete. She is an unbelievable athlete, an unbelievable talent, but you have to evaluate her as it relates to her space, right? Yeah. You can't say that she's a better athlete than looking around the room. You can't say she's a better athlete than Brian Dawkins or a better athlete than John Jones or and I know right now Scott's thinking John Jones would still beat her in a fight, but she can kick harder than John Jones though.
One hand.
She can kick harder than John Jones. So and as my wife and daughter would say, and son, she also flops more than John Jones. But that's a whole different topic. We need her to stay on her feet for this World Cup. So if we were to go to the next tier of players, who do you have in the next tier, Mark?
So in the next tier, we're looking at, after we get past Ronaldo, I put Mayweather number 6, which at this point I think is too high after we've talked about it. Then I put Schmidt, Jokic, Dawkins, and Urlacher round out my top 10.
Who's at the bottom of the list?
Well, I admittedly put the UFC guys at the bottom of the list, not out of rankings, but because I'm not a UFC guy. So I just put them down there because I wouldn't know where to put them.
Okay.
The last person on my list was Josh Allen, which I thought I'd put him ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Josh Allen is literally a human golden retriever. This guy runs fast, jumps high, and if those aren't two options for him, he will run right through.
He's a big dude.
He's a monster.
I love Josh Allen. I always pull for the Bills just because I'd love to see that city get it. I guess I'm just a little sour on some playoff disappointments recently.
Just because you drafted him in the first round of the Office League last year, don't put this on him.
Listen, I'm
your mistake.
Between my fantasy league and the Bills just not making it to the championship, he got a little punished.
I'm a Bills Mafia guy. I have a, as you guys know, I have a friend who played for the Bills, and I admire the culture there and the family that they created, and how the alumni there are all so tight with one another. Josh Allen's a great talent. Mark, I think that you are absolutely blind and naive to sports to put him at the very bottom of the list. I think that, and listen, I'm a Michael Jack Schmidt guy, right? I grew up watching Schmidt and Trio and Boa and Pete Rose and Gary Maddox and Shake and Bake McBride and Bob Boone, Steve Carlton. Like, that was my era. That's when you weren't born yet. That was my era. That was when, I was a kid playing Little League and wanted to emulate these guys. Josh Allen, it's a longevity thing. If Josh Allen plays like he's been playing, Josh Allen's just going to set records in the NFL.
Okay. So are you, and I need to make sure that I understand what you're saying because I can't quite comprehend it. Are you claiming that if you extrapolate Josh Allen's career over 10 years and just assume he stays on the same trajectory, that he will end up a better NFL player than Mike Schmidt was an MLB player?
You can't do that. We talked about that, right? But what I'm telling you is you can't have him at the very bottom of the list. You're creating a level of insignificance that parallels the over significance you're putting on Schmidt.
Okay. I will agree that I'm putting over significance on Hurts, Brandon Graham, former Eagles, and by putting them all above Josh Allen. Again, I don't know where this hatred of Mike Schmidt comes from for you, but he's the
everybody hated Mike Schmidt.
He's the greatest.
Remember when he wore the wig? Well, you don't, but you probably saw it on YouTube or something. But he wore a wig out to talk to reporters, like disguising it. Like, Mike Schmidt wasn't a likable guy, but he was a likable baseball player. You were thrilled he was on your team, but he wasn't the nicest guy out there with the fans. Michael Jack Schmidt, amazing third baseman. I can't think of a better Philly of all time. And I agree that he gets mentioned in amongst the greatest third basemen. But what I'm saying is your disdain for Josh Allen in this room, we're talking about this room, I think it's misplaced.
Let's go through
I can't take any more of this Josh Allen blasphemy. You literally have Brian Urlacher, who got juked out of his jockstrap by Tom Brady, as a better athlete than Josh Allen.
Brady
that's not serious.
Tom Brady ran a 4.5 minute 40.
So Josh Allen, again, you got to remember how I'm doing this. At this point, Brian Urlacher has a better NFL career than Josh Allen. Josh Allen's also still young. There's part of the Jalen Hurts thing that we talked about that we have to see.
So by that logic, shouldn't Allen be ahead of Hurts by default?
I already admitted that I put all the Eagles ahead of Allen just out of spite, like for no reason. but hold on.
You deserve to stop.
We need to stop this Mike Schmidt blasphemy for a second, because let's just go through the numbers real quick. 12-time All-Star. Who else on the wall could say that? Probably only LeBron. World Series champion.
Fan votes.
How about Deion Sanders?
No, it's maybe Deion was 12. 3 times MVP in his sport. Who else can say that? Jokic and LeBron. No, Josh Allen is he going to win 3 MVPs? Maybe.
Now they'll change. They'll be trading them with
10 times gold glover. How many people in this room won 10 defensive?
Well, hold on. Are we counting Pele's awards? Because he had a couple.
I didn't put Schmidt ahead of Pele.
Okay.
I put Pele ahead of Schmidt. So to say that some of these, fringe Pro Bowl NFL players are ahead of Schmidt, Schmidt's an all-time Mount Rushmore baseball player.
The modern NFL quarterback, his contribution to the team's success far outweighs anything an 80s third base player did for the baseball team.
Well, but part of that's the sport, right? Like, the quarterback has an oversized influence on his team's success than any single baseball player does.
Yeah, literally the quarterback touches the ball.
Yeah, I'll give you that. but we're talking the greatest at his position.
Let
in
me
the
throw
history
something in the mix here.
of the sport.
Let's muse this for a moment. Let's say hypothetically, Shohei Ohtani shows up on the wall here. How does that change your lineup?
Again, there's a little bit of he has to do it for an extended period of time.
But what he's doing,
He's in his
What
fifth
doing
year
is
right
so
now.
unbelievable. If he, again, you extrapolate his career with what he's doing, I'll put him number 2. I don't know if you can get to Bolt. Maybe. We'll see if he truly pitches his whole career, because I have doubts that he's going to. But what he is doing now in his prime, he'll be ahead of LeBron. He'll be ahead of everyone else. It'll be him and Bolt for the number 1 spot.
On my first,
You just saved my entire image of your sports knowledge. So I want to thank you, because I any other answer would have been the wrong answer.
Well, let me tell you about my second metric. My first metric, I'm not sure.
Steel cage.
I'm not sure how Ohtani does in a steel cage match, but in my second metric, and I have not played any video games yet utilizing Ohtani. But if we use my video game metric, I think I'd have to give it to Mike Vick. NFL, Madden, nobody was faster. You tuck that ball and go. You could bring the ball back 99 yards. He's questionably as powerful as Bo Jackson was in Tecmo Bowl in the 80s.
I mean, the man tells no lies.
Yeah, if video game metrics, Michael Vick's number 1.
As long as you roll him to the left. You can't roll him to the right.
But what's stopping you from just rolling him left every time? When he was on the cover of Madden, he was truly
Right up the middle. Just
like you said, him and Bo Jackson, Tecmo Bowl, probably 2 most unstoppable video game athletes of all time.
Absolutely.
Look, I have a friend who went to play with him in Atlanta, and you guys have heard these stories before. And when my friend was recruited as a wide receiver in Atlanta, he was recruited really basically just to stretch the field, because Vic not only had the ability to run, but Vic had a cannon for an arm. So you always had to worry about him running, stopping on a dime, and unleashing that ball. But when you stretch that field, when you have fast wide receivers downfield, man, it's lights out, because he's going to stretch that defense and Vic's going to take off and go.
I mean, it really is one of the greatest what ifs in sports history, because he clearly, and by the choices he made, the mistakes he made, and the crimes he committed when he was the Falcons, if he had the mindset that he had by the time he was on the Eagles at the beginning of his career, I think we might be talking about him as the greatest quarterback of all time.
I'll tell you why we wouldn't. You know why we wouldn't? Number 20, the Wolverine, that guy right there, Brian Dawkins, killed Mike Vick.
Mm-hmm.
He took Mike Vick out of more games when the Eagles would play the Falcons. There was a playoff game, and I can't remember what year it was, but I remember as an Eagles fan sitting on the edge of the couch watching this thing and just thinking, oh my God, Michael Vick is going to kill us. And all of a sudden, here comes Dawkins. That was Mike Vick's last play of that game.
That had to be 01, 02.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, they played in the 04 NFC Championship.
I was thinking that when he made Algie Crumpler just die on the field.
So the 04 NFC Championship game,
Right.
it actually wasn't Dawkins. The biggest hit I remember on Vic, I remember Hollis Thomas just laying, like Vic just mistakenly stepped, because Hollis wasn't catching him, just mistakenly stepped right into him and he laid him out. And
Well, it's like the Water
Dog
Boy.
got a couple big-
Hollis used to, picture things, and Hollis swore that it was a Jim steak. So he was like straight after him, and he just mauled him.
So the one that I think I might be undervaluing or underrating.
Did your boy Dawkins get a Super Bowl in Philadelphia?
No.
Right? He
did not.
had to go to Denver, right?
He actually didn't win one in Denver.
He didn't win that year?
Yeah, no, he never won
No.
a ring. So
But there's a lot of great defensive players that have never won rings.
I wonder if I'm undervaluing Alex.
By the way,
Morgan.
Seth Joyner did win a ring.
He won it with Denver.
He won it with Denver.
Yeah.
Dawkins wasn't quite there.
So who you think you're?
I just
undervaluing?
don't, and this is my own ignorance. I wonder if I'm undervaluing Alex Morgan just because I know she's on a great team. I know how great the U.S. women's national team is, but my general perception is she's not the number one player on that team or has maybe never
Probably not anymore.
And I just don't know if in her prime was she considered the best female soccer player in the world.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
won a number of
And then maybe
female equivalents of the
she
golden.
might need to be
the golden
higher
boot.
than
she's and even at this stage of her career, she's an unbelievable athlete. Her endurance, her speed, her closing speed, her leg strength. I mean, she is.
How about the fact she came back from, having a baby and this participating and performing at this level? That's incredible.
And that's something that we don't talk about enough in women's sports. I think it was Venus Williams. I heard an interview not that long ago about her comeback after having children. The adversity that the women have to face in their sports is such a far cry from what us guys complain and whine about as being, oh, I hurt my knee. You're literally, if you're giving birth to a human being and your entire body's changing, you're down, and you go through all that trauma and not just the physical, but the emotional components of it and the bonding, and then having to get back to that discipline of getting back to your training and your routine, and then you're still able to operate at a high level. My hat's off to the female sports participants. And we've had shows in the past on the Adam Malamut show where we've talked about Title IX and equality in sports, and that's one of the things that I think is often not talked about enough, which is all the things that the women athletes do that they just don't get the credit for.
In terms of longevity, to Mark's point, and just in terms of off the field legacy, I mean, she was basically her, along with a few others, the face of the movement to get equal pay, which they achieved.
Right. Megan Rapinoe, another one.
So I'm going to then revise. Then she belongs, in that top 10. And I'm going to have to take out some of these NFL players.
Urlacher's got to go.
Urlacher's got to go. I mean, she probably should.
Urlacher's from Chicago. Who cares about Urlacher? Seriously. Like, great guy when he was on the field, overrated on Scott's Madden metric because the guy made, a bunch of tackles on Madden. But at the end of the day, Urlacher was a great player. He's in the Hall of Fame. I don't know that he's the best linebacker in this room.
Brady broke his ankles.
That hurts. That hurts. All right, so Scott, who do you have after that?
Well, my third metric, okay. Number one being the cage match. Number two being video game performance. The third metric for athlete represented in this room, I'd have to give it to myself. You all know that I'm an elite athlete. I train continuously and vigorously. I'm a little slow right now because I got a shoulder thing going on, but that's what I'd put next.
So as we're wrapping up this show, I think that's going to beg itself another segment, probably with at least one mental health professional. But we're not even going to address that. Mark being in the room will give me his piercing labor lawyer stare as I say what's going through my mind right now. But listen, however you see yourself, you should always see yourself the best. And I think that's our message, right?
Right.
Just none of us do.
Be your number one fan.
Be your number one fan, like LeBron's wife.
There you go.
All right. So listen, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to have a lot of fun in this studio. And this is something that we're real proud of. When guests visit the office, we like bringing them through. It's a lot of fun things to look at. It's a great opportunity to ham it up and have discussions like we're having now. It's not all about the law. A lot of what we talk about is common sense. A lot of what we talk about is life experience. And the three guys that have joined me here today, they're masters at this. And it's part of what makes it so much fun for us to do what we do is the relationships that we have. We don't always agree, like Scott's wrong idea that Mayweather's better than Bolt, but we all have the ability to have that banter and have that dialogue. So before we sign off, I want to thank each of you, Keith, Scott, Mark. I want to thank you guys. Nick produced the show. Sherry, our chief marketing officer, is putting together a bunch of photos for us, and we'll pump out some more information about the studio. If you want to come visit the studio, let us know. We're happy to show you. We have a lot of other cool memorabilia, photographs, historic photographs, and neat things that we keep in the office. And we're always happy to sit down and chop it up for a little bit and talk about these things. So for Keith Gentis, Mark Natali, and Scott Sheldon, I'm Adam Malamet. We'll see you next time.